Let me ask you this. Can you beat Chris?
Definitely yes.
Really? You really think that you can beat this? Hey, what's going on, guys? EP09 back here with another video, and today I wanted to talk about Urs Kalecinski and Chris Bumstead. Everybody seems to think that this is going to be the top two this year. Maybe Terrence Ruffin, but I think this is going to be the top two this year. Urs has really made some noise since he placed 4th at the Olympia last year. He really came out of nowhere. Nobody saw him coming. Is he able to push Chris? Well, that's a little bit of what we're going to talk about in this video. But to start, I wanted to talk about the division of Classic in particular. And Urs had a conversation with Jay and manager Matt about this on the Cutler cast, and they talked about how the standards have been changing in Classic and what the standards really are right now. So let's have a listen in on some of the discussion that they had.
Me being an open guy and only witnessing through my lifetime, mostly, you know, obviously the transition of bodybuilding and looking back at the Arnold era, whatever, which I think like some of those guys were bigger than what you guys are today, right? Because I don't think they had like the weight caps, right? It was like height, right? Or whatever. Yeah. So I saw the standard of Danny Hester. Okay. He was the first to Breon to Chris. So like it seems like they haven't figured out what the ultimate body
All three
is
are
yet.
completely different.
Yeah. So my question is, like, when is it going to land? I mean, you've seen like the mass monster and open bodybuilding, then you've seen more aesthetic, right? But the biggest guy usually is the guy that wins, right? I mean, the roundest, whatever, in the best condition, right? But I mean, what's the standard going to be? I mean, when Chris gets either beat or retires,
That's the interesting question, I would say. But
let me ask you this. Can you beat Chris?
definitely yes.
Well, I think Chris might have something to say about that. I personally don't think that Urs is going to beat Chris this year anyway. I think Chris is just too good. You know, Chris has been focused. Chris has been training hard. Chris is on point with his diet. Chris working with Hani Rambod this year, I think, is only going to help. I think that you're going to see the best Chris Bumstead that you have ever seen on stage. But look, more on the changing standards of Classic Physique. You know, I mentioned about some of the update pictures that Urs has been putting online, and some of the videos that he's been posting as well really show a shredded package. This was just under 2 weeks out, I believe, that he posted these videos, and he's shredded. But my question is he too shredded for Classic? Is there too shredded for Classic? It seems like when Classic first began, it was, you know, you had to be definitely lean, but shredded? This is shredded. Everybody seems to have their own interpretation about Classic too. Wesley Vissers is one of those guys. Do you remember back when Wesley won the 2017 Mr. Golden Era competition that Nick Strength and Power put on? Everybody said that Wesley was going to be the next standard in Classic Physique. And Wesley really does check off a lot of Classic boxes. So why is it that Wesley wasn't found to be the next standard for Classic Physique? He kept doing shows, judges kept coming back and saying that, well, you need a little bit of improvement here when it comes to your legs. Or I remember one show that he did, a judge came back and said, well, you need to be leaner. It just seems to be that the answers keep coming up of leaner, bigger, bring something else up. I don't think it was ever a proportion thing with Wesley, because the guy's got some great proportions. One could argue maybe his arms could be brought up in the triceps, maybe. I mean, his biceps are phenomenal, especially for Classic, when he hits that classic Arnold pose with the two arms in front of him and the bicep. Just unbelievable, right? But anyway, we seem to have a standard set with Chris Bumstead. With that being said, I think that Urs is trying to do his best to hit that standard himself of what he thinks the judges are going to be looking for. He does have his own routine when it comes to posing and how he presents himself, absolutely. But, you know, when you look at the difference between him at the 2021 Olympia and what we see here at the 2022 Boston Pro, some pretty big improvements from a size standpoint. I think that he's made some improvements. Is it enough for him to move up in the top 4? Well, we're going to find that out in less than 2 weeks. Actually, it's getting close to less than 10 days now. It's getting close, and it's getting exciting. But does Urs have enough to beat Chris? Like I said before, I think the answer for this year is absolutely not. I just don't see anybody challenging Chris. Chris is just too good. I think that Chris actually is light years ahead of everybody else in the competition, more so than Big Ramy is in open bodybuilding. Chris is tall, he's big, but he's not too big. He's proportionate, he gets lean, but maybe not too lean. Can I say that? Maybe not too lean, but just lean enough. Just as lean as the judges seem to want when it comes to classic physique. It's a crazy thing with the changing standard, but Chris just has those flowing lines, and he presents himself in that classic way, right down to the mustache. I think everybody would agree with that. It's how he hits his poses. He's a master when it comes to poses and choosing the right poses for himself. And whatever it is that Chris is presenting, if you really wanted to say, what is the standard right now for classic physique? If you wanted to say, what is it right now? I think you could really just sum it up by saying, Chris Bumstead. Funny now, though, with Chris going for the three-peat, everyone that I've either spoken to or heard speaking about Chris is completely pumped for him to come in and just dominate and win another one. I think that's what everybody's expecting. Maybe Chris is facing more negativity than I'm seeing out there, but he really seems like he's getting a lot of hate, and I don't see it out there. I think that Chris is, like I said, absolutely the favorite to win. What's not to love about him? I mean, he's got the biggest social media following of anybody in competitive bodybuilding right now, or competitive physique whatsoever. But you know, Chris did have some insight on how he's feeling right now. Check out this video from less than 2 weeks out.
This year too, it's been different because my mind's in a really good place, and I know that because there's so much like noise and talk and shit going on about me now. Like, I've won 3 times in a row, so people want to see me with failures and like shortcomings and falling, because like it's just getting to that point in the career when someone has a bunch of success. People like to talk a lot of shit, like to talk a lot of positivity, and there's just a lot of talk. So me being able to tune out, just turn it all into white noise and just focus on what I need to focus on, it's kind of like a daily reminder and like a real like pushing the message home that all I have to do is wake up every day, follow the plan, day by day, workout by workout, meal by meal, cardio session by cardio session. All I have to do is follow my plan and keep doing what I do, because it doesn't matter what's going on out there. No matter what anyone's saying right now, no matter what talk's going on, positive or negative, none of it matters. All that matters is me getting the work done every single day and showing up on game day at 100% and bringing it all home.
Like I said, maybe I'm missing something somewhere, but talking about people are speaking about him negatively and how there's a lot of negativity coming from him and he just needs to shut down and block all that out. I'm not seeing it online. I don't know who's saying that about him. If somebody can point me in that direction, if you guys can let me know down in the comments section exactly where this is being said and by who, I would love to hear it, because I'd love to tell them, frankly, how wrong they are. Chris is going to win. There's no question that Chris is going to win. But I am glad that his mind is in the proper place to win this year as well, because we all know that if you don't have that mindset of a champion, you're going to show up on stage and it's just not going to happen. You could be in the best shape of your life, but if your mindset isn't right when you walk out on that stage, somebody's going to take advantage of that. You know, I love the dungeon that Chris is training in here too, the Revive Gym. I'm sure it's probably just a filter that they're also putting on either the camera or the video editing, but it does. It looks like Chris is just training in an absolute dungeon. So maybe that's putting him in the proper place that he needs to be mentally. Maybe that is helping. Whatever he's doing, he just needs to keep doing it. He's on track to win. You watch. 3-peat this year. I don't have any question in my mind. Anyways, guys, that's it for me again here at EP09 Fitness. Thank you very much for tuning in for another video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section on all this. Do you think that Urs can win this year? Do you think that anybody can beat Chris this year? Let me know. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe.